I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Okay, fresh tobacco pipe, and not one, but two colas. Hey, not one, but two colas right here. Hold on. Sorry. I'm just enjoying me some generic cola and Twinkies. I brought enough for the whole class, but unfortunately, I don't know how to get them to you. We're a couple colas in, you know, smashing them. I should have done it this way, but I've never been able to do that quite very well. And so, you know, I'll drink one for you. You know, man, this is going to be horrible. I love cherry stuff, but I'm not big on the RC cola. I hate the word COLA. So I hate that I said that. I've said it enough, but I guess I'll give it a drink since I drank with the Twinkie. Cheers. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. This is a very ridiculous perception is Jesus. It is really ridiculous. It's perception is reality. I cannot believe I still do that. All this time and I still do that. It's because it's my first true love. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this 417th episode of the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. Producer Kate is here making sure everything runs smoothly except this. She's making sure all of that runs smoothly, but I'm making this the car wreck that it is. I'm happy that you're all here. We have some amazing things to talk about tonight. The episode title for tonight's show, episode 417, is Generic Cola and Twinkies in the Upstairs Basement. And I do want to let you all know that I am live in the Upstairs Basement. If someone could please, I know somebody's watching this that knows John Mark Sproles. And if one of you out there could please forward this to John Mark Sproles. I can't because he blocked me on social media, so I can't share it to him. But if one of you could please share this link with him, I hope he watches. And if you are watching now, or if you will watch in the future, John, Mark, cheers. This Twinkie's for you. So, God, those are nasty. I'm not a big Twinkie fan. I said that when he said that stupid shit. I don't like generic cola. I don't like the taste. I don't like the word. You all know I'm a water drinker. I'll drink cherry Coke, but I'm mostly a water drinker. And I don't like Twinkies. I'm not saying, obviously, I'm not the beacon of health. I'm not like, who? Arnold Schwarzenegger, or what's the Kardashian guy? Girl? Whatever. So anyways, but Twinkies are not my go-to junk food. So he needs to get it right. Anyways, we have some Sproles stuff to talk about. I just had a couple people ask me this week, man, have you just stopped caring about Henry County? And I'm like, no, I haven't stopped caring about Henry County. Henry County has stopped caring about Henry County. They have just basically shut down. Sproles went from being one of the most out of control, just completely ignorant forces to be reckoned with, out running the streets in his short shorts and his tight shirts with his rubbed up, buttered up nipples and his unmarked car, out violating the rights of whites and blacks and blacks and blacks and blacks and more people. And those are his words. I wouldn't say blacks. I'm just using John's words. But then all of a sudden, he's like disappeared. People in county government go weeks and weeks without seeing him. He doesn't go to commissioners' meetings or council meetings. He doesn't attend other functions or Republican functions. It's reported that he attended a function a while back and said that it was a Friday, and he's like, this is the first time in a week I've been in a uniform. And people say that he seems like he's been upset and just kind of discombobulated. So I don't know where he's been hiding. There are still some things that happen every now and then in the commissioners' meetings, because Susan Hoon is a crackpot. She is completely psychotic. She should not have been a county councilor. She definitely shouldn't be a county commissioner. And you guys did it. I warned you. I told you don't let it happen, but you did. And it happened, and now we deal with it. But she's still not as out there as Sproles is. So it's few and far between. So, I told somebody, like, when something happens, I'll cover it. But not talking about Henry County for so long. Joe Black. Not covering Henry County is a good thing, because it means things are not going wrong. So someone asked me then, a friend of mine, Jeff, I'm sure he's on here, asked me just yesterday. He said something about Henry County getting quiet. I'm like, man, it is. Yeah, it's kind of quiet. And then yesterday occurred. And what's strange about what happened yesterday was I started getting phone calls from citizens and from county employees from Delaware County, and they were turning me on to something crazy in Delaware County pertaining to our Delaware County auditor. And you might say, well, what does that have to do with Henry County? And most people would say, well, nothing, except, unless they want to. Quick, somebody write them and see if they want to sponsor the show. It wouldn't have anything to do with Henry County, except for the fact that I know that Delaware County Auditor Ed Carroll is in some kind of man crush, boy type of partnership with the Henry County counselor, one of the Henry County counselors, Chad Malacote. Chad Malacote famously was a Henry County counselor and was working like part-time in the Delaware County Auditor's Office, doing God knows what, making money doing God knows what, and literally quit because he didn't want Bilbrey to talk about him. Chad Malacote, let me tell you something, buddy. If you're not doing something funky, if you're not doing something weird, there's nothing for me to talk about you with. So if you have to quit doing something because you're afraid of me poking around and calling you out, you're probably doing something you shouldn't be doing. You think? You think? Okay. So here's the thing. This deal between Ed and Chad, it's wild and it's big. And there are things that Ed is and has been doing, which is really, honestly, seriously going to be his undoing as an elected official, as somebody that people turn to. It really is going to bring him down. It's going to bring him down. I fully believe that. And I don't know how invested into this partnership Chad Malacote is, but I seem to think it's pretty much. And I'm still navigating these pieces, and this is kind of what I've been talking about the last couple of weeks. So this is not going to be a show tonight about Ed Carroll and his boy, Chad Malacote. Okay? It's just not going to be. Numbers 32:23, King James Version. Be sure your sin will find you out. And I think that Ed and Chad's sin, at least the political, corrupt, maybe family in some cases, sin is seeking them out quick-like. So their time is coming, but it's not tonight. Tonight, we feast on generic cola and Twinkies in the upstairs basement. And we do that under a Sproles Watch. Special alert, Sproles Watch, March 27th, 2025, 9 p.m. A Sproles Watch 2025 has been issued by the Political Spotlight for East Central Indiana. Citizens of Henry County are advised to use caution if they find themselves in the presence of John M. Sproles. Tune into the Political Spotlight tonight. That's what you're doing. Thursday, March 27th, 2025, 9 p.m. Eastern for updated information pertaining to his royal anus, John M. Sproles. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a show that I have been wanting to make, thinking about making. This has been a show that has been in the works for nearly 2 years, just shy of 2 years. And it's a show that definitely affects the citizens of Henry County, but it's a show that anyone who has followed the saga of John Mark Sproles should be interested in. It is a show that everyone in America should be interested in. This should be seen by everyone. This is a show that will be talking about a topic that is extremely important and should be important to everyone, Republican or Democrat, liberal, independent, non-political, man, woman, child, everyone in between. Okay? It's a show where we will talk about basic God-given rights. Did he pull over a busload of nuns and harass them too? Not that I know of. I'm always waiting for the call where I will get that. But I as of now, I don't know. But you never know. So for those that aren't believers, or maybe believe something different than the story of the Christian God, I don't know where your rights come from. If you want to tell me where your right to do X, Y, and Z, where your rights from the Bill of Rights come from, your right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness comes from your the right for your First Amendment right, your right to live and to be in this world. I don't know where your rights come from. Maybe you say the government. I don't know. That's a scary thought to me. As a believer, I believe that my rights come to me from my Creator, and that the government, they've got nothing to do with it. Basically, their job is to protect my rights from being violated by any other human, by the government, by citizens, or anybody. And so when they violate our rights, it's wildly egregious, because they are supposed to be our protectors. And so it's been a minute. And the thing is, sometimes when you are going through processes, it takes time that it's not out, it's out of our hands. And so for those of you that have watched the show for any length of time, you know that for a period of time back about 6 or 8 months ago, we were doing these ping pong shows where one night we would do a show where I would read you some documentation, and then the following, next week I would read you a show from Sproul's point of view documentation. We go back and forth, and we did this several times. And so I now have documentation that I need to read you, and I need to bring you all into the same space that I am in. And what we need to do is, I'm not going to go through this from the very beginning, because I feel like most of you know this. If you do not, it's very simple. All you have to do is go to our YouTube channel, go to the playlist that is the Henry County, I don't know what the playlist is called, the John Sproul's Henry County playlist. And there is a playlist, and inside that playlist, there are 80 or 90 some videos that detail my last several years with Sproul's and all of the weirdness that has happened. And several of those videos focus on a lawsuit in which I filed against Sproul's for a First Amendment rights violation, where he violated my right as a citizen, as a human, as an American, as a Hoosier, but more than that, as a member of the press, as someone who is considered media, as a political commentator, he has violated my rights. In my opinion, he's violated his oath in doing so, and a lot of other things. So we had to file, and there will be people who will say, "Oh, this is just somebody looking to make a quick buck." Look. If we do not stand and fight to protect our rights, if we let them trespass against us with these small actions, it's just a hop, skip, a jump, and a slope, a slippery slope to they're doing all kinds of other crazy things. And I, for one, am someone who is very serious about my First Amendment right. I speak for a living, and I'm concerned about what seems to be overreach in people attempting to, stop people from talking, and, those who might try to violate my rights or your rights, other people's rights. I don't just fight for my First Amendment rights. I fight for your First Amendment rights. I'm fighting for everyone's First Amendment rights, not even the rights of Hoosiers, but the rights of all Americans, and the rights for all people around the world to be able to speak their mind and to say what they need to say. And so John Sproles had committed an act in which I felt was a violation. I contacted a good friend of mine who's an attorney, and he filed a lawsuit. We filed the lawsuit, and it's went forward. It's been covered on our program. It's been covered on 93.1 WIBC, a radio program. It's been covered, I think it's been covered in the Star Press. It's definitely been covered in the what's it called? The Travis Weekly Rag. What is it down in Newcastle? I forget what it's called. Whatever the newspaper is in Newcastle, the Courier Times, whatever. It's been covered down there, and it's been covered in other places as well. And one of the things that we had here was, generally when you sue a government official, an elected member of the government, they all of a sudden get quiet. They say nothing. They let their attorneys handle it, and that's it, and that's that. Now, I speak out. I always talk with my attorneys. I know what's okay to say, what's not okay to say. And specifically because this is a First Amendment rights lawsuit, and my attorneys are ones that believe in the First Amendment, they say, have at it. You can talk what you want to talk about. You know what not to cover, not what not to say, and whatever. You know what lines to not cross, so go at it. But what was odd in this case was Sproles also has been vocal throughout this lawsuit. And it's not just been my lawsuit. It's been several other lawsuits and claims of lawsuits and tort claims, the first step in the possibility of suing. And we know that there are tort claims that have been settled outside of court. And what's interesting about that is Sproles has said from very first lawsuit that this is frivolous. These are all frivolous. This is all bullcrap. And we're going to have our day in court, and I will come out victorious. And during one of those times, he talked about how it's very easy for Mr. Bilbrey to sit in his basement and drink his generic cola and eat his Twinkies and speak out on things that he knows not anything about. This is his belief, whether it's based in reality or not. I contend and say, no, it's not based in reality, but that's what he chose to say. And every time he would say something like that, I would say, okay, let's have it out. I'm fine going to court. I'm fine going through this process. And we fought through this process, and I did every single thing that I needed to do. We deposed Sheriff Sproles. Sheriff Sproles' team decided to not depose me. I wish they would have. It would have been fun. They didn't. We went through mediation, and that went nowhere because Sproles is a maniac. And then we went through a portion of the law process in federal court where one or both sides can file something that's called summary judgment. And so I'm not quite sure if we filed summary judgment first or they filed, but generally what will happen is both sides will file. We will file saying we want the judge to rule in our favor because these are the facts. We've laid them out, and the judge should be able to plainly rule and see that, yes, these are the facts. And the other side, makes a cross motion, and they say, no. We want you to rule in favor of us and dismiss this case, and we want Mr. Bilbrey to pay for our law, our lawyers' hours, and all of this, and yada yada yada. And then what has to happen is we work with our individual attorneys. We go to our separate corners and we type up these documents, and those are the documents that we went through in the last 5-6 months. And we would go back and forth, and I would read you our documents, and we would go over Sproles' response, and then we would have Sproles' response, and his document, and then we'd have our response, and we'd go back and forth and back and forth. I think we did it a total of 4 times. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have in my possession today a document that has been prepared by the judge in this case, okay? And the judge in this case is a very competent, someone that I have total respect for. By the way, Catherine, you don't have to ask me to ask a question. If you got a question, ask it. I haven't been to comments yet, but yeah, type away. You know how this works here. You act like this is your first time here. Sorry, I was on a roll. And so the judge in this case, Richard L. Young, has been a judge for quite some time, was actually appointed by Bill Clinton all the way back in the Bill Clinton years. So that's how long this guy's been around. And let me hold on here. I know we're partying. We got to keep this party going, but I need to get some of these supplies out of my way. We'll get back to some of the supplies in a bit, but I need to be able to get to the computer here. So without further ado, I'm going to just do what we've always done in this situation. I'm going to put this up on the screen. I'm going to let you guys see this, read this as I read along. And then at the end of this episode, I'm going to post pictures of this document on Twitter and on Facebook. And I will also have a link in the description of this episode where viewers can go and click, and they can choose to read this again if you so are inclined. And people can pull this off and copy and paste and share. And I'm going to tell you, well, I'm not going to get any further ahead. We'll go ahead and we'll pull this up on the screen, and we'll go from there. And then I won't get ahead of myself. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here's our document. So this is reference case 123 CV 1259 RLY. That's the judge's names. MJD. Document 61 filed 3/27/25, which is today. This is the United States District Court, Southern District of Indiana, Indianapolis Division. Kristopher Bilbrey, plaintiff versus John Sproles in his official capacity as Sheriff of Henry County. Entry on motions for summary judgment. And so what this means, ladies and gentlemen, is this is the judge making his remarks and responding to both myself, my attorney, and John Mark's self and John Mark's attorney. Okay. So that's what this is. And just to kind of give you where we're going, this page, this document is 28 pages in length. So it's rather girthy here. Okay. In July 2023, plaintiff Kristopher Bilbrey, a political commentator and podcaster, commented on a Facebook page operated by defendant John Sproles, the sheriff of Henry County. Sproles deleted Bilbrey's comment and then blocked him from the page. Okay, now, real quick, I want to say, you're aware of why this happened here. First and foremost, all elected public servants should maintain as many different accesses on social media, phone numbers, emails, office hours, whatever they can do to communicate with the public at large and meet the people and the media where they are. That's their job. They should be willing to do that. So myself as a media personnel, as a citizen, whatever, all of you out there should be able to communicate with the sheriff of Henry County on his page, and we should be able to say many different things. But specifically on the day in question, I was questioning Sproles because he had taken a video, one of these shows, he had taken a video of mine, of Kate's, of Brandon's, and he had removed these nifty things up here that say the political spotlight. He removed our banners. He removed, all of our watermarks and everything that makes the program ours. He then edited what was almost a 2-hour-long video down to like less than about a minute, 3 minutes or less, I think, 15 seconds to a minute. I can't even remember how long his edit was. The bottom line was he edited the video, and the way that he edited it was a deceptive edit. He made the edit to appear as though it fit his narrative, and that is not what the total overarching video did. It simply did not do that. And so I responded to this and thought, oh my God, he's just committed intellectual theft, intellectual property theft. And this is a copyright issue, and that's no good. So I reached out to the sheriff and I said, hey, hi diddly-o, neighbor, something. I wasn't like, hey, asshole, you son of a bitch. I was like, hey, you've edited our video, and I would like to ask you to do one of a couple things. One, attribute the video to us in your post and tell the folks that this is an edit and this is not what the actual video actually sent out in its message to the world. You've edited it in a way that it's saying something differently. So please do that. Or re-edit the video in a way to put our stuff on the video and let people know that it's our video, or take the thing down. Those three things. And instead of doing any of those things, John Mark decided to first delete my comment. Then when I realized my comment was deleted and I started to like, hey, you can't do that, you're starting to screw up, I then noticed that he blocked me on this social media page, which was his official government page. It was his government page where he was conducting government business. And that's what the problem was. So we filed this lawsuit. Getting back here to the document. Bilbrey alleges that John Mark's actions violated the First Amendment, and I sued Sproles under 42 U.S.C. 1983. Bilbrey now moves for partial summary judgment as to liability and his entitlement to permanent injunction requiring Sproles to unblock him. And so what we've done here is we've said that partial summary judgment, we just want the judge to make the ruling that we are in the right, Sproles is in the wrong, and he has to unblock us and, do that as much. And that we are not asking for any, we're not demanding these fees or whatever. That's left up to a judge. If a judge determines that there's something there, that part would be left up to the judge. That's what the partial's about. And we did that in a filing number 44. Sproles cross moves for summary judgment in a filing called number 49. The judge, having reviewed the parties' submissions and designated evidence and the applicable law, the court now grants Bilbrey's motion. Say that again. In this document, the court grants my motion, and the court denies John Mark Sproles' motion. Now, there's a lot more to get into, and we're going to get into it, but just that line there alone, I'm happy to let you all know that I have come out victorious in my lawsuit against John Mark Sproles. We are victorious. What Sproles did was wrong, and you're going to hear now what happens because of this and what the judge did to come to this realization and what happens from here. Background, the parties. Bilbrey is a political commentator who hosts or co-hosts several podcasts that discuss national, state, and local issues. He resides in Delaware County, Indiana, which is adjacent to Henry County. He is a Facebook user and relies on Facebook as a significant source of news. Previously, Bilbrey co-hosts The Bastards of Politics, a weekly podcast focused on exposing government ineptitude and corruption, upholding constitutional principles, and encouraging listeners to become politically engaged. Shortly after this lawsuit was filed, Bilbrey and his co-hosts stopped producing The Bastards of Politics and began hosting The Political Spotlight, a different podcast dealing with the same issues. Episodes of The Political Spotlight air live on or posted to YouTube. Bilbrey also hosts his own separate podcast, Bilbrey Live, which airs on the Political Spotlight's YouTube channel. Because of his podcasting, Bilbrey believes it is important that he remain well informed about national, state, and local issues and be able to access public statements made by government officials as well as the public's reaction to those statements. Sproles is the elected sheriff of Henry County, Indiana. He took office in January 2023. He is the highest official in the Henry County Sheriff's Office. By statute, Sproles has certain powers and duties, including the power to arrest, suppress breach of peace, pursue and jail felons, take care of the county jail. Generally, though, he is responsible for overseeing the law enforcement activities conducted by the Henry County Sheriff's Office and enforcing Indiana laws and county ordinances. Sproles also testified that he has the authority to make official announcements about the activities of the Henry County Sheriff's Office. Sproles operates 3 Facebook pages. First, he has a personal Facebook page under his name, John Sproles. And for the record, I don't give a shit about John Sproles' Facebook page, his personal page. As long as Sproles continues using it as a personal page and does not post political, governmental information, he is allowed to block you, me, and anybody else that he wants to. He can run that page as he sees fit. Now, I will caution him, as I will caution every other elected official, including the Muncie Mayor, Dan Ridenour. If you have a quote-unquote personal Facebook page, and on that personal Facebook page, you one time open the door and post about political action, city business, yada, 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 then that is a horse of a different color. And now we have to talk about the fact that you have to allow myself and everyone else's self on that personal page. So what I would always, listen, I'll be honest. Social media is weird. And I think that if you're over the age of like 15 and you have social media and you're posting what you had for dinner and what it looked like when it came out the next day and what movie you're going to go see and all this crap, I think that's really weird. Okay. That being said, I understand the purpose of social media. If you have family members that live elsewhere, you're able to connect with baby pictures and families and all of that stuff, and it can be a useful tool. I don't social media the way that normal people do. I don't post like personal stuff. I mean, I guess I do, but I use social media only in the form of it gets out the message, and it's a political, it's an ends to a mean for the podcast and for politics, okay? So I would tell all elected officials, let it all open. Let it all open, Or if you're going to have a personal account that you're going to have locked down, don't put on there that you work for the city, the county, the state, the nation. Don't have anything. Post your kids, your pictures of your wife, your flowers, your dogs, but don't ever say anything about, it's the 4th of July in the city of Muncie, or, nope, don't post anything. Don't post congratulations to somebody for winning an election. Just don't do it, because you walk a line there. All right, that's John's first page. Second page, he operates the Henry County Sheriff's Office Facebook page. This is an official government page that Sproles inherited when he took office and that he uses in furtherance of his responsibilities as sheriff. Sheriff's Office page. Sproles is the only person who posts on this page. That's a page that I contend is a countywide sheriff's page that information from the jail can be posted and all kinds of other information can be posted. All right. And I have access to that page, but I will contend that Sproles does not always use that page to post everything that he thinks government-wise, and I have example of him not doing that. Finally, Sproles operates a third Facebook page. This page was created in 2021 around the time Sproles decided to run for sheriff. Sproles is the only person who has posted to this page since he became sheriff. At the time of its creation, the third page was called John M. Sproles for Henry County Sheriff. However, on December 31st, 2022, the day before he took office, Sproles changed the name of the page to John M. Sproles, Henry County Sheriff. Shortly thereafter, he changed the name to John Sproles, Henry County Sheriff. That remained the name of the third page until a few months after this case was filed, when Sproles changed the name back to John M. Sproles for Henry County Sheriff. It's kind of like the gotcha. He blocked me. He did the action. He got sued. And then after the suit, he was like, whoa. And he changed it back to make it look like it was a campaign page. Okay. The third page, about page and intro, states that Sproles for sheriff is responsible for this page. In addition, Prior to July 12th, 2023, the page bio read Republican candidate for Henry County Sheriff, professionalism, accountability, transparency. Content posted on the third page and the sheriff's office page. Sproul's posts on the third page address a wide variety of topics, including purely personal matters. For example, Sproul's friends, family, and religious activities, and topics related to his job. Third page post. Okay, that's the notes. All right. Let's see here. He also has posted open positions on Sheriff's Patrol Division. He's posted Sheriff's Office press releases. He's posted political candidate endorsements. Body-worn camera footage captioned a day in the life of being the sheriff. Sproul's post made to this page were public. On the sheriff's office page, Sproul generally posts about the office personnel, activities, professional milestones, and announcements. All of the Henry County Sheriff's Office official press releases are posted on the sheriff's office page. On several occasions, Sproul's shared the third page press release that were originally posted on the sheriff's office page. He testified that he shares press releases to that third page just to share them on the personal side. Sproul's also shared other content from the sheriff's office page to the third page. Third page post from January to June 2023 at 22, sharing sheriff's office page post about first dress inspection and meeting with the entire patrol unit. On more than one occasion, Sproul shared content from the third page to the sheriff's office page. For example, on December 31st, 2022, Sproul's posted on the third page about taking office and thanking Henry County for allowing him to serve as their sheriff. On January 1st, 2023, that post was shared to the sheriff's office page. Bilbrey recalls multiple other instances where the posts from the third page were shared to the sheriff's office page. After Sproul's took office, Bilbrey routinely viewed the third page to stay informed and to look for topics to discuss on his podcast. Bilbrey has been a vocal critic of Sproul's on Facebook and elsewhere. He has commented on the third page and the sheriff's office page. Bilbrey comments on the third page were sometimes critical of Sproul's, but never threatening, vulgar, profane, or otherwise inappropriate. Bilbrey has also posted comments on the sheriff's office page that are deeply critical of Sproul's, calling Sproul's ridiculous, small-minded, hack, and absolute disgrace. Between January and July of 2023, Sproul's deleted several, but not all, of Bilbrey's comments on the third page. Sproul's blocks Bilbrey. On the morning of July 10th, 2023, Sproul's posted a press release entitled Town Marshal Information to the Sheriff's Office page. Sheriff's Office page post from January to July 2023 at 21 to 22. A few hours later, he made an identical post on the third page. The post provided information about a recent Henry County Sheriff's Office directive stating that its deputies would no longer respond to non-emergency calls in towns that utilize the town marshal system. In the post, Sproul's identified problems with town marshals and police coverage in small towns. The Sheriff's Office directive generated significant local interest. Bilbrey followed the issue closely because of his interest in local politics and his podcast work. That same day, Bilbrey attended a public Greensboro Town Council meeting in Henry County. He took a video recording of the meeting, including Greensboro Police Chief Chris Pickens' response to Sproul's criticism of local law enforcement officials. The next day, Bilbrey posted his recording of the meeting to the Bastards of Politics YouTube channel as an episode of Bilbrey Live. The video included an introduction with Bilbrey Live logo and some written language introducing the dispute between Sproul's and Pickens. During the portion of the video showing Pickens' statement, Bilbrey added a logo and some language indicating the video was taken for and disseminated as part of Bilbrey's podcast. On July 12th, 2023, Sproles posted a 30-second clip of Pickens' statement from the Bilbrey Live video to the third page. Sproles removed the logo and text indicating the video was taken and disseminated for Bilbrey Live. The post reiterated the opinions that had resulted in Sproles' decision to cease responding non-emergency calls in the towns with town marshals. Bilbrey commented on the post stating that the video was being used without his permission to support a position contrary to the point of the video. In his comment, Bilbrey asked Sproles to either remove the video from the page or edit the post to credit Bilbrey and explain that Sproles' comments had nothing to do with Bilbrey's video. Bilbrey's comments were critical of Sproles, but were not threatening, profane, or otherwise inappropriate. Shortly thereafter, Sproles deleted Bilbrey's comments. Sproles then blocked Bilbrey from the third page. As a result, Bilbrey cannot view or leave comments on the post on the third page. He remains blocked from the third page. Bilbrey would like to be able to once again view and comment on all official posts made by Sproles on the third page, including those that were made prior to Bilbrey being blocked. Bilbrey is not blocked from the sheriff's office page. However, because he is blocked from the third page, he cannot view or comment on any posts the sheriff's office page that are shared from the third page. For example, when Bilbrey tries to view the January 1st, 2023 post shared from the third page to the sheriff's office page that I have access to, I cannot see that post, and instead it sees an image that reads, "This content isn't available right now." When this happens, it usually is because the owner only shared it with a small group of people or changed who can see it, or it's been deleted. Or I would contend the person has blocked the person who can't see it. But I guess this is the judge's word, so we'll keep it at that. Bilbrey cannot view or comment on this post or view others' comments on the post, although he would like to do so. On the evening of July 12th, 2023, after Sproles blocked Bilbrey, Sproles changed the third page bio to the following: "This is not an official government page. Visit Henry County Sheriff's Office official page." Why did he change that? It's like covering up a crime. You see what's going on here, folks? For everybody that's maybe new to this, he's doing all of these things. He's being told, "Hey, you're screwing up," and then only after that he changed all of this to try to make it fit better for him, not realizing that all of this shit can come back to bite you. A few hours later, he changed it to, "This is not an official government page. I am speaking as a private individual. Other facts necessary to resolve this motion will be discussed below." Evidentiary objections. Sproles challenges many statements made in Bilbrey's affidavit, largely on the basis that they are outside Bilbrey's personal knowledge. An affidavit must be made of personal knowledge. The court will address the objections that are relevant in the court's analysis. First, Sproles objects to paragraph 23, in which Bilbrey states, "It's my understanding that Sproles' actions blocking me from the third page causes the deletion of all comments that I've ever left on the third page. It also prevents me from even seeing or visiting Sheriff's Office third page, and certainly prevents me from commenting on any post or comments to the post made to that page." Sproles argues that this paragraph is inadmissible because Bilbrey has not been designated as an expert on the use and operation of Facebook, and because he admitted that he does not understand how Facebook's algorithms work. Obviously, I do not know how Facebook's news algorithms work. I do not know precisely how Facebook determines which material to display on a user's news feed. The court disagrees. Thank you, court. Bilbrey is perfectly able and competent to testify to the impact of Sproles' blocking on his ability to view and comment on the third page. This is within Bilbrey's personal knowledge. He need not be an expert to offer this testimony. Thank you, court. In addition, Sproles objects to paragraphs 37 and 38, which read, in relevant part, from time to time, the Henry County Sheriff's Office shares a post that was originally posted by Sheriff Sproles to the third page. I recall multiple other instances where I was not able to view content on the page operated by the Henry County Sheriff's Office because that content had been shared from the third page. Although I was not able to find these posts in late May of 2024. And I want to take a time out here and just make sure that you're all aware when I say the third page is the page that is at the heart of this lawsuit. I just want to make sure you're aware that it's that page that's at the heart of the lawsuit. Sproles argues that these statements, again, are inadmissible speculation because they fall outside Bilbrey's personal knowledge and because Bilbrey only provides evidence of one instance, the January 1st, 2023 post, when the Sheriff's Office page shared a third page post. Bilbrey offers no evidence of any such allegedly deleted post or their content other than his own recollection. Again, the court disagrees. Thank you, court. Bilbrey's recollection of other shared posts is perfectly within his personal knowledge. That Bilbrey has only provided a screenshot of the January 1st, 2023 post does not prevent him from testifying to his recollection of other posts on the Sheriff's Office page. And notably, because Sheriff Sproles has not presented evidence to the contrary, it is undisputed that on more than one occasion, Sproles shared third page post to the Sheriff's Office page. Thank you, court. Legal standard. Let's see here. Summary judgment is appropriate if there is no genuine dispute as to any material facts, and the movement is entitled to judgment as a matter of law. A genuine dispute about material facts exists only if the evidence is such that a reasonable jury could return a verdict from the non-moving party. When reviewing cross motions for summary judgment, the court views all facts and inferences in the light most favorable to the non-moving party on each motion. So you understand that? That's very important. When I file a summary judgment and I file the motion, the judge reviews all facts and inferences in the light that most favorables Sproles. Okay? When Sproles files a cross motion, they read his motions and looks at all of that information and all the inferences in a way that is most favorable to me. Okay? So that is important for people to understand. Discussion. Bilbrey brings a 1983 claim alleging Sproles violated his First Amendment right to speak and receive information by blocking him from the third page. As Bilbrey sees it, he has the right to comment on and view post on the third page, which he characterizes as an official government page. So Sproles' decision to block him constitute an improper prior restraint on speech. Sproles, by contrast, contends that the third page is purely personal campaign page and that Sproles exercised his own First Amendment right by posting on and blocking Bilbrey from the third page. State action under 1938. As a threshold matter, Bilbrey must show that Sproles engaged in state action such that he may be held liable under 1983. Let me read this again. Bilbrey must show that Sproles engaged in state action such that Sproles may be held liable under 1983. Section 1983 protects against acts attributed to the state, not those of private persons. In the run-of-the-mill case, state action is easy to spot. But in cases involving a state official's use of social media, the line between the state and private action can be difficult to spot. After all, while public officials can act on behalf of the state, they are also private citizens with their own constitutional rights. Sproles, for example, did not relinquish his First Amendment rights when he became sheriff of Henry County. Clearly, I certainly wouldn't have wanted him to, and I would fight for Sheriff Sproles' First Amendment rights. And if he acted in his private capacity when he blocked Bilbrey from the third page, then he did not violate Bilbrey's First Amendment rights. Instead, he exercised his own. Okay, so that's the key thing that the judge has to determine. Was Sproles operating in his capacity as a private citizen or as the sheriff of Henry County? Last year, the Supreme Court issued a unanimous opinion in Linkey that established a two-part test for determining whether a public official's social media activity constitutes state action under 1983. The court held a public official's social media activity constitutes state action under 1983 only if the official, 1, possessed actual authority to speak on the state's behalf, and 2, purported to exercise that authority when he spoke on social media. Here, the parties dispute both prongs of the Linkey test. In short, Bilbrey contends that Sproul obviously had actual authority to speak on behalf of the state, and that Sproles purported to exercise that authority in many posts on the third page. By contrast, Sproles contends that he only had actual authority to speak on the state's behalf on the sheriff's office page, not the third page, and that regardless, the third page was purely personal page on which he did not purport to exercise any official authority. Actual authority. First, Bilbrey must show Sproles possessed actual authority to speak on the state's behalf. Without this threshold showing, Bilbrey cannot establish state action. At the first prong, the court considers whether making official announcements on the state's behalf is actually a part of the job that the state entrusted the defendant official to do. The authority must have been actual, not simply apparent. It doesn't matter whether the official acted like he had the authority to speak for the government or whether others thought he had such authority. Linkey versus Freed. To determine whether the official possessed the requisite actual authority, the court looks to sources identified in 1983. Statute, ordinance, regulation, custom, and usage. Additionally, to satisfy this first prong, the official's authority to speak on the state's behalf must extend to speech of the sort that caused the alleged rights deprivation. The plaintiff must show more than that the official had some authority to communicate with the public on the state's behalf. Rather, the plaintiff must show the alleged censorship had some connection to speech on the matter within the official's bailiwick. Linkey provides a helpful example. If a city manager posted a list of local restaurants with health code violations on a social media and deleted comments on the post, neither his post nor the deletion of the comments would be traceable to state authority if public health is not within his portfolio as city manager. Here, Bilbrey contends that there is no serious dispute that Sproles, as a county sheriff, had actual authority to speak on behalf of the state. The court agrees. Thank you, court. Written law does not explicitly grant Sproles the authority to speak on the state's behalf. That said, he is the highest ranking official in the Henry County Sheriff's Office, and he acknowledges that he is generally tasked with overseeing the office activities. He also admits that he has the authority to make official announcements about the office activities. After all, common sense dictates that the sheriff of a county is authorized to communicate with the public about the office's business. I never understood why that wasn't understood. A grant of authority over particular subject matter may reasonably encompass authority to speak about it officially. Reasoning that it is common sense that an agency director charged with overseeing an agency is authorized to communicate with the public about the agency's business. Further, many relevant posts made by Sproles on the third page and, of course, the sheriff's page address activities within his portfolio as sheriff, including the office's press releases, open officer positions, and the activities and professional achievements of officers. Sproles does not dispute that he has some authority to speak on behalf of the Henry County Sheriff. That office, that's crazy. Good thing he doesn't dispute that he has some authority. You know, that's nuts. But he argues Bilbrey has not satisfied Linkey first prong because Sproles only has authority to do so on the sheriff's office page, which is absolutely insane. Not on the third page on any other social media page. Sproles misunderstands Bilbrey's task under Linkey. The first prong does not require the plaintiff to show that the official had actual authority to speak on social media or to post on a particular social media account. Instead, the plaintiff must show that the official had the authority to speak generally in whatever format on behalf of the state. If the official has such authority, he may have the authority to do so on social media, even if the law does not make that explicit. To be sure, the court cautioned in Linkey against relying on excessively broad job descriptions to conclude that the government employee is authorized to speak for the state. After all, the inquiry is not whether making an official announcement could fit within Sproles' job description, but instead whether making such announcements is actually part of his job. But the court is confident that Sproles, the head of the Henry County Sheriff's Office, has the authority to speak on behalf of his office. No shit. Like, that's, yeah, right. Noting that the director of the State Transportation Department would possess authority to issue statements on the state highway system that he oversees, but a construction worker working on those highways would not, citing Linkey. In sum, the court concludes Bilbrey has satisfied the first prong of the Linkey test. Thank you, court. Purported use of authority. After determining Sproles possessed actual authority to speak on the state's behalf, the court proceeds to the second prong, whether Sproles purported to exercise that authority when he spoke on social media. Whereas here, a plaintiff is blocked on a page-wide basis from an official's social media page, the court must consider whether the official engaged in state action with respect to any post that the plaintiff wished to comment on or view. Accordingly, to satisfy the second prong, Bilbrey need only identify one single post. And this was the thing that Sproles had the hardest time understanding. And I can't believe that his attorneys didn't help him understand this better. All I needed to do was identify a single post. The court begins by considering the third page as a whole. Context is everything in analyzing the second prong. Context may reveal that official social media is clearly personal. For example, pages with labels and disclaimers this is a personal page or the views expressed are strictly my own are entitled to heavy presumption that all of the posts on the page were personal. Other pages may be clearly governmental. For example, an account that belongs to a political subdivision, i.e. the city of Port Huron Facebook page, or is passed down to whomever occupies a particular office, clearly governmental. Still, other social media pages may be ambiguous pages and are not designed either personal or official and appear, to include personal and official posts. Here, Bilbrey argues that the third page is unambiguously an official government page. In complete contrast, obviously, Sproles argues that the third page is unambiguously a personal, and Bilbrey has failed to rebut the presumption that its posts were personal. Having carefully considered the overall context, function, and appearance of the third page, the court reaches a different conclusion. The third page is an ambiguous page. The title of the third page at the time Bilbrey was blocked was John M. Sproles, Henry County Sheriff. Suggests the page is a governmental account. However, the page neither belongs to the political subdivision nor is passed down to successive sheriffs. In addition, the third page account information stated that Sproles' campaign is responsible for the page and that the page represents a Republican candidate for Henry County Sheriff. Third page about, But these statements are not clear labels or disclaimers that entitle the third page to a presumption its posts are personal. Furthermore, Sproles' posts on the third page touch on a wide variety of topics, some of which are not clearly personal. Therefore, the third page is an ambiguous page that is not designated to either personal or official, which rises to the prospect that it was a mixed-use place where Sproles made some posts in his personal capacity and others in his capacity as sheriff. That's important. When dealing with the ambiguous social media page, the court must engage in a post-by-post analysis of the page to determine whether the official engaged in state action. This is a fact-specific totality of the circumstances inquiry of Linkey. A post's content and functions are the most important consideration in a court's analysis. That said, the mere subject matter of a post isn't enough to show that the post is a state of action. An official does not necessarily purport to exercise his authority simply by posting about a matter within it. He might post a job-related information for any number of personal reasons. Bilbrey presents many posts on the third page that he believes were made in Sproles' official capacity. The court will take a closer look at one, the town marshal information press release posted to the third page. The third page post from July to December 2023 to 4. The post contains an image identifying the post as the press release from the Henry County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff John M. Sproles. The image also includes the Henry County Sheriff's Office logo. Sproles made this post at 11:35 a.m. on Monday, July 10th, 2023. In the post, Sproles explains the purpose of an official Henry County Sheriff's Office directive about deputies not responding to non-emergency calls in towns using town marshal system. Sproles concludes the post by writing, "As your sheriff, I assure you that our office and our deputies will always respond to any kind of active need for law enforcement anywhere within our county. Let me also assure you that our agency is diligently working with the Newcastle Police Department and the Indiana State Police to figure out ways in which we can work together to assist these small town boards and helping them properly vet their own town marshals in order to more effectively and safely serve and protect the great citizens of Henry County. John M. Sproles, Henry County Sheriff." In the comment section of the town marshal post, Sproles replied to questions and comments from Facebook users. For example, in 2 comments, Sproles shared that he would discuss the town marshal system in an upcoming podcast episode. I will share more information about this upcoming Thursday on the Boss Hog of Liberty show. Join us on Boss Hog of Liberty to discuss the town marshal system in Indiana. Sproles testified that he assumed he was invited on that podcast in his capacity as sheriff. The court begins by considering the content and function of the town marshal post. The post discusses an official Henry County Sheriff's Office directive impacting the conduct of its officers, noting that the post has some legal consequences in the real world will likely be exercises of an official authority. The post includes an image that identifies the post as an official press release of the Henry County Sheriff's Office. In addition, Sproles signs the post as John M. Sproles, Henry County Sheriff, and refers to himself as your sheriff. Your sheriff. At the end of the post, he also makes assurances about the sheriff's office future conduct and its work with other law enforcement agencies. All of this suggests that Sproles was purporting to exercise the power of his office in posting the town marshal post on the third page. The court also notes that Sproles used the comment section of the post to advertise his appearance on an upcoming podcast. Considering the content on the town marshal post and the fact that Sproles assumes he was invited on that podcast in his official capacity, Sproles' comments further suggest the purpose of the post was to announce and explain an official sheriff's office policy. The fact that Sproles made the post around 11:30 a.m. on a Monday also suggests to some extent that Sproles was using time at work to announce and explain an official policy, noting that an official who uses government staff to make a post will be hard-pressed to deny that he was conducting government business. To be sure, Sproles points out that he posted an identical town marshal information post on the sheriff's office page a few hours earlier. He suggests that this renders the town marshal post on the third page personal. In Linkey, the Supreme Court explained that the post that merely repeats or shares otherwise available information is less likely to invoke state authority. As an example, the court explained that the mayor who posts exclusively on his Facebook page that he is suspending enforcement of a parking rule pursuant to a municipal ordinance is clearly purporting to discharge an official duty with this post. By contrast, a mayor who merely links to a parking announcement on the city's webpage is far less likely to purport to exercise the power of his office in the post. Although it repeats information posted by the sheriff's office page, Sproles' town marshal post on the third page is distinguishable from the second post described in Linkey. On the third page, Sproles often shared press releases from the sheriff's office page. He explained that he did so to share the press release on his personal side, but he did not share the town marshal post, which was posted directly to the third page. Thus, he did more than simply link to an otherwise available announcement. This, considered alongside the content for the post, suggests Sproles was not merely raising public awareness of the sheriff's office directive in his personal capacity, or is commenting on government happenings in a way that any other citizen could when he made the town marshal post on the third page. Thus, considering the totality of the circumstances, the court concludes that the town marshal post on the third page was made in furtherance of Sproles' official responsibilities as sheriff of Henry County. Bilbrey's desire to view and comment on the post is undisputed. Therefore, the town marshal post satisfies Linkey's second prong, noting a plaintiff who has been blocked on a page-wide basis need only identify one post that he wished to comment on and represented that state action. I only needed to show one post, and we did that. Moreover, I also testified and put under oath that there were other multiple pages, but that I couldn't see them because Sproles had either deleted them by the time I needed to go back and find them, or I was blocked from seeing them because he had blocked me. Sheriff's Office page. In any event, Bilbrey has also satisfied Linky's prong by pointing to post that Sproles shared from the third page to the Sheriff's Office page. Both parties agree that the Sheriff's Office page which Sproles operates is an official government page. It bears both the hallmarks of an official page identified by the Supreme Court. It belongs to a governmental entity, the Henry County Sheriff's Office, and Sproles inherited it from a previous sheriff. Without a doubt, when Sproles posts on the Sheriff's Office page, he is purporting to exercise the power of his office under Linky. Bilbrey, of course, is not blocked from that page. He is only blocked from the third page. However, it is undisputed that Sproles, on occasion, shared posts from the third page to the Sheriff's Office page. When Bilbrey visits the official Sheriff's Office page and encounters posts shared from the third page, he cannot view the content of the post or comment on the post because the Sheriff's Office page cannot view the content on the post or comment on the post on the Sheriff's Office page because he is blocked from the third page. For example, now that he has been blocked from the third page, Bilbrey cannot see or comment on the January 1st, 2023 post shared to the Sheriff's Office page. Bilbrey has expressed his desire to view and comment on this post, as well as other users' comments on the post. Thus, Sproles' action blocking Bilbrey from the third page has deprived Bilbrey of the ability to view and comment on at least one post on an undisputedly government social media page that he wished to view and comment on. This too satisfies Linky's second prong. Sproles' attempt to avoid this conclusion by complaining that Bilbrey has only provided one specific example, the January 1st, 2023 post of the third page post shared to the Sheriff's Office page, but Sproles, as discussed above, has provided no evidence to the contrary to Bilbrey's testimony that Sproles has shared multiple third page posts to the Sheriff's Office page. Regardless, the Supreme Court was clear that a plaintiff who has been blocked on a page-wide basis need only identify one post demonstrating state action, and Bilbrey has done so here. In addition, Sproles argues that because Bilbrey is not blocked from the Sheriff's Office page, he is able to view and post comments under any shared empty post on the Sheriff's Office page that he cannot view because he was blocked from the third page, but Sproles provides no evidence to support this. In fact, it is undisputed that Bilbrey can neither view nor comment on posts shared from the third page to the Sheriff's Office page. In any event, Bilbrey wishes to both comment on and view these shared posts. Finally, Sproles expresses concern that Bilbrey's theory of liability related to Sproles sharing third-page posts to the Sheriff's Office page would require the court to impose liability on states' officials anytime they share posts made by a private citizen who has blocked anyone from viewing their post. Not so. In such a circumstance, the government official and the private citizen whose post was shared would only be liable under 1983 if they were jointly engaged in the challenged section. A private person whose Facebook post is unwittingly shared by a government official would not meet that standard. In any event, that is not the concern here. Sproles is a state official and the only person who posts on the third page and the Sheriff's Office page. As Bilbrey explained, even if Sproles' third page was clearly private, by blocking Bilbrey from the third page and also sharing third page posts to the Sheriff's Office account, Sproles essentially conspired with himself to prevent Bilbrey from viewing or commenting on certain posts made to the Sheriff's Office page. In sum, the court concludes that Bilbrey has satisfied both prongs of the Linkey test and therefore shown that Sproul's social media activity constituted state action such that he may be held liable under 1983. First Amendment. And we're wrapping up. We're almost done. Just hang with me. Just a few more pages here. Having concluded Sproul's engaged in state action, the court turns to the merits of Bilbrey's First Amendment claim. In short, Bilbrey contends that Sproul's blocking of Bilbrey from the third page constitute a presumptively unconstitutional prior restraint on speech that fails strict scrutiny. Sproul's, by contrast, contends that the third page is not a public forum and that even if Sproul's blocking Bilbrey is a reasonable time, place, and manner restriction that provides Bilbrey ample alternative channels for communication. The court first engages in a forum analysis. After all, the extent which the government may limit access to the forum depends on the nature of the particular forum. Traditional public forums, such as public streets and parks, are places with a long history of being devoted to assembly and debate. Designated public forums are locations or channels of communication that the government intentionally opens up for the use of the public for expressive activity. Linkey does not discuss when an official social media page constitutes public forum. Generally, though, it is to determine whether the government has created a forum, the court looks to the policy and practice of the government as well as the nature of the property and its compatibility with expressive activity. As discussed above, the court concludes that Sproul's used the third page for official business. This page is Facebook page, which certainly is compatible with expressive activity. Identifying social media is an important place for the exchange of views. Sproul's deliberately invites public to commentary debate on his third page by making all of its posts public, meaning the comment section of his post are open to any Facebook user. Sproul's has not presented evidence that he adopted or followed any particular rule about monitoring the content of the comments added to the third page. Therefore, the court concludes Sproul's created a designated public forum with the third page, at least with respect to official posts made on the page. Holding officials' Facebook page amounted to a public forum, in part because its comment section was open to the public. Holding President, let's see here, Knight First Amendment. Holding President created a public forum by repeatedly using his Twitter account as an official vehicle for governance and making it an interactive features accessible to the public without limitation. Okay. Holding officials' Twitter pages in inactive portions of the Facebook page were designated public fora, in part because the officials had no policy or practice of regulating comments posted by the public. And let's see. Hold on here. The government has only limited ability to regulate expressive activity in designated public forums. Here, Bilbrey contends that Sproul's blocking was a prior restraint on speech that must survive strict scrutiny. Sproul's contends that if the third page is a public forum, his blocking of Bilbrey was a reasonable time, place, and manner restriction on speech. Under either test, Sproul's bears the burden of demonstrating that his blocking of Bilbrey was narrowly tailored to serve a government interest. Explaining prior restraints or constitutionally sound time, place, or manner restrictions as long as they are narrowly tailored to serve a significant government interest. Explaining the government may impose reasonable restrictions on the time, place, or manner of protected speech, provided a restriction are narrowly tailored to serve a significant government interest. Sproles fails entirely to identify a government interest advanced by his decision to block Bilbrey from the third page. Even if he did articulate some interest other than merely avoiding Bilbrey's criticism, such as interest in avoiding disruption or facilitating communication on social media, Sproles' decision to block Bilbrey burdens substantially more speech than necessary, and it is therefore not narrowly tailored. Sproles blocked Bilbrey entirely from viewing, leaving comments, even those that are concise and supportive of Sproles, on post, on or shared from the third page. On Facebook, Sproles certainly had at his disposal easily available alternative methods of regulation that would have had considerably less impact on speech, namely the ability to delete individual comments. Let's see here. Therefore, the court concludes that Sproles' blocking of Bilbrey was unconstitutional. Permanent injunction. Bilbrey requests a permanent injunction requiring that he be promptly unblocked from the third page. To obtain a permanent injunction, a plaintiff must demonstrate that he has suffered an irreparable injury, that remedies available at law, such as monetary damages, are inadequate to compensate for that injury, that considering the balance of hardship between the plaintiff and the defendant, a remedy in equality is warranted, and that the public interest would not be disturbed by permanent injunction. The plaintiff must show success on the merits. As discussed above, Bilbrey has been successful on the merits of his First Amendment claim. And although Bilbrey does not specifically address the permanent injunction factors in his briefing, he has shown that he is entitled to a permanent injunction requiring Sproles to unblock him from the third page. With respect to the first element, the loss of Bilbrey's First Amendment freedoms unquestionably constitutes irreparable injury. With respect to the second element, money damages would be inadequate to remedy Bilbrey's First Amendment injury. Injunctions are especially appropriate in context of First Amendment violations because the inadequacy of money damages. Finally, the balance of inequities with respect to both Sproles and the public favors entry of an injunction. After all, the public, too, has a strong interest in the vindication of an individual's First Amendment rights. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the conclusion of this situation. And that's where we'll move into this part. Conclusion. John Mark Sproles, if you're out there listening, buddy, your cross motion for summary judgment is denied. Bilbrey's motion for partial summary judgment is granted. The amount of Bilbrey's damages must be addressed at trial, and I'll tell you what that means here in a minute. With respect to Bilbrey's request for injunctive relief, Sproles is ordered to unblock Bilbrey from the Facebook page at issue in this litigation, the third page, within 14 days of the date of this entry. The injunction shall be set forth in a separate order. It is so ordered this 27th day of March 2025. And it is thus signed by Judge Richard L. Young. And I just have to say, I am absolutely thrilled with the performance of attorney Gavin Rose. Gavin was my attorney. I feel like this is vindication for myself. I feel like this is vindication for Brandon Rudd when dealing with J.D. Prescott in their lawsuit, which went in Brandon's favor, but J.D. was ridiculous. I feel like this is a big win for America. I agree absolutely with what Eric was saying there. Admiral Eric, this completely blows open the door for the dozens of others that Sproles deleted and blocked. Hell, it blew that door completely off the hinges. I absolutely agree with that. Now, to explain what it means by the other part of the damages and going to trial. So this, I never look at any of these things. This is not, I hate when people, here's the thing. There are people out there that do things for get-rich schemes when they sue these people and that person. I am never doing this. I am looking, when I am in a lawsuit, to protect myself against the violation. And in my opinion, and what's more importantly to me, is to punish the actors that did whatever against me or whoever, so that they will not violate anyone else's rights. All right. In civil litigation, monetary punishment is the only way to punitively smack someone's hands. You know, if this was just like, well, you got to unblock him and whatever, people don't feel the pain. Now, we have to go to court, and there is one last section of this where we will go to court, and the judge will determine what happens with the second part of that, which is the damages. I am not at liberty to talk about that currently. That's one thing that I'm not. Once we go to court, I'll be able to talk about that. And I asked my attorney, that should be sometime within the next month or so, maybe next 2 months. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'm going to tell you, listen, I wasn't jailed. They didn't take my liberty from me or whatever. They violated my First Amendment right, which is very serious. It's very serious. I hold it to be extremely serious. They violated my First Amendment right. He has violated many other people's First Amendment right, and I hold that to be serious, and they need to be held accountable for that. And I will push for that. And I believe that they deserve and to be held accountable for that. And we will deal with that. But this is not something that anybody is ever going to ride off into the sunset and live comfortably the rest of their life because of this. So I am not out to screw the taxpayers of Henry County. I am out to make sure that Sproles thinks twice before he gets his feelings hurt and tries to block people. And I'm still pushing for Sproles to unblock everybody on that page. Understand? Understand? I am absolutely pushing for that. So I want everyone to understand that. And I'm going to continue working with Gavin to make sure that I can fight to make sure that that happens. Sproles has 14 days. 14 days from today. So that will be 28, 29, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So on the 11th of April, I should be permitted to comment and engage with the citizens on Sproles' governmental page. Now, what I want to do is I want to come up with the very best first comment back. So maybe we all need to put our heads together and think about what that first comment's going to be back to Sproles. I tell you, in my opinion, one of the things that's really won out is I'm thinking about just writing the lyrics and maybe sharing the link to Welcome Back Kotter theme song. I like that. That's up there. So we'll have to see. But in all seriousness, I feel happy with this. I'm vindicated. Sproles said that this would not happen. Sproles said that he would be vindicated, that this lawsuit was frivolous. Sproles said that he would have his day in court and I would be made a fool of and he would come out victorious. And I want to ask, back to life, back to reality. That's good, Mayor. I just want to know, like, what's going on here. I want to know what Sproles doing. I want to keep Sproles accountable. We're going to continue doing that. And, I hope he does what's right here. And, I hope that, the mayor of Muncie is aware of this. I'm going to send this out to a couple media, personnel. I'm going to send this out to, Travis Week. I'm going to send this out to the Star Press. I'm going to send a copy of this to Mayor Ridenour, and I expect Ridenour to unblock me from the page that he has me blocked from. So this is a big win, because the thing is, the First Amendment battle has been waged for years and years and years in court. However, the First Amendment battle as it pertains to government officials and the media, government officials and citizens on social media, it's still relatively in its infancy. And so this is a big early win. This is a big, big early win. So, I'm pretty sure. Yes, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure that I will be on the Kendall and Casey show with this. When I was on with this, when we first filed the lawsuit, Rob told me to let them know when this came to fruition, whenever this ended. So I will be sending this to them. And I'm going to push it out there to as many individuals that will look at this as possible. So that's that, ladies and gentlemen. Which page does Dan have you blocked on? Dan has me blocked on his Dan Ridenour page. It's just what would be his personal page, except for the fact that he has covered governmental and political things on that page. So that's what's going on there. So I'm going to keep on rocking and rolling and keep on rocking in the free world. And we're going to send Sproles and everyone else out there a message. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Hey, if you got something out of this episode, if you're happy that we defeated Sproles, remember how what a smug bastard he was? Remember what a smug bastard he was? It was really, really, really bad. I mean, he was like, these are frivolous. These are frivolous. This is nothing. It's like, no, dude. You're out of control here. So if you're happy about this, you realize this is big, give us a like. This was a big deal. We're very happy here. Very happy to bring it to you. I'm going to get off here and finish the rest of my RC colas. What you didn't even see is we got a whole 2-liter of, what the hell is this? Clover Valley's Dr. Topper, whatever the hell that is. So I'm going to get off here and finish my Twinkies. You guys have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. If you didn't get a chance to watch the live streamed meeting earlier in the evening at 6 of the Alexandria Town Hall, you should watch that. There was also a Delaware County town hall today. Unfortunately, it was not live streamed and I did not be able to get to that. I will make it to the other 2 Delaware County Town Hall meetings. We just had too much going on with everything going on with Ed and Malakote and everything going on with this lawsuit. And then, of course, everything going on with everything right now. It's feast or famine. And right now we're feasting. So I will let you guys know what goes on with that. We will be back here tomorrow. We're not gone tomorrow because we were off on Sunday, I believe. We will be back tomorrow. Catherine and I will be here tomorrow, and we'll be breaking down the meeting and talking about a few other things. So come right back here tomorrow. Right back here. Yeah, right. That's what I need to do, Mayor. So tune right back in here tomorrow at 9 p.m. where we will have another amazing show for you. Hit the like on your way out. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Share the show with everyone you know. And thank you for everything. God bless each and every one of you. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.